The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. New York's #1 for throwbacks.
All right.
Hey now.
Welcome to Outside the Booth, where we talk to DJs about their life and experiences. I go by the name of DJ Kamish, on location and looking like Malcolm X on the screen. I'm looking at myself, just kind of weird. But I am joined by my co-host, the one and only BX.
Hey now.
Who is in studio
by myself
and looking rather lonely.
I got Big Rick here. It's okay.
Yes. Shout out to Big Rick. He's holding it down.
Yes.
On the boards there. And Knuckles is on location, but he'll be back soon. I almost didn't make it today. It was one of them days where
I was ready to hold it down by myself. I got you.
Life is lifing out here, but we're making things happen. You all right though?
Yeah, I'm good. How's everything going? This weather is crazy today in New York.
The weather's crazy in New York. Life is happening, but I got my little trusty juice here, so I'm gonna drink this right here.
Oh yeah, we know how you feel about your juices.
I'm always juicing. I've been talking about this all day in meetings and in interviews all day. So this right here is a watermelon cucumber ginger juice.
Oh
with
God.
With a little bit of cayenne pepper in it.
There you go. Hook yourself up. Get healthy. Health is wealth. I'm
trying to get right, man. I did enough other things. I'm just trying to get right. To make sure
I know that's right.
I'm here to be, so I could be here every week and on time every other week, right?
This is the first.
So today,
yes,
we have our special guest who is also on location. You're the first person.
You are first Zoom guest.
Yes, you are our first guest that's on location, and we're gonna get to the reason why you're on location. You're actually from where you are right now. Or not from, but you actually live where you are right now. Mm-hmm. But you have something huge going on, which is why you're there.
Right.
If you were from here, you're from here originally, right?
Yes,
born here. Yep. But if you were here, still living here, you would be where you are right now.
Yeah, I can take that.
Yeah. So
let me give him the proper intro.
Okay.
This is our special guest, Bobby Fame. To those that don't know, Bobby Fame is known professionally. He's an entrepreneur. He is a philanthropist, community leader based in Columbus, Ohio, the owner of Fame Productions, a media and event production company, and a public partner at the Forum of Columbus. Additionally, he serves as the producer of the Summer 614 Festival, a prominent cultural event in the region up there in Columbus, Ohio. This is huge. And he's been doing this for 8 years. This is your 8th annual year doing this.
Yep.
That is amazing. Drop a bomb for him, please. That is awesome. You're doing so many things. And then you have sold over 1 million tickets. Over 400 artists you worked with. You've led the way in curating large-scale events that not only entertainment, but you uplift the community. So it's like you are a pivotal personality up there in Columbus, Ohio. Straight from New York, by the way. How does that make you feel being that guy? Everybody get a round of applause for Bobby Fame,
Thank you for the introduction.
Can we get one time for Bobby Fame?
And thank you guys for allow me to be on this platform. I know it's made for DJs, but I pay a lot of DJs, so I should be on here. So that's always in my budget. I don't think I've ever in my life not had a DJ in my budget. It was funny because I played tennis, but my tennis coach was I think he's turning 70, and his wife said, "Oh, I'm gonna have this party." I'm like, "You got a DJ?" She like, no, I didn't think about that. I said,
you need a DJ.
How you gonna have an event without? I don't care if they don't dance, and they didn't even dance. They just sat around and mingled. But they enjoyed the music. I bought the little LED wall for them. I had my DJ come, and what I mean, it's a gift. But you can't. I read one post. It was that who's the most important? Is it the venue owner, the promoter, or the DJ? And everybody was arguing. And so the DJ said, all right, well, I'll just cut the music off and leave. And everybody said, no, don't do
No,
that.
you can't do that.
You can't
You can't do that.
But it's like the promoter and the DJ is the most important for the party because you bring the people that he has to play for.
Yeah, and if it's
Absolutely.
rightfully so, sometimes you got the DJ that bring the people more than the promoter. So
Yeah, that's true.
it's not every situation is different, you know. So
I will say this as a DJ and as a sports fan. I'm reading your information, and the first thing that when it jumps out to me and it says Columbus, Ohio, the first thing that comes to me is Ohio State. Columbus is for someone who hasn't really been to Ohio, you know, and you think about Cleveland, you think about Cincinnati, you don't think about Columbus, but Columbus is actually a bigger city than people think.
oh yeah,
Right?
for sure.
It is a huge city. So the fact that you're based there and doing as much as you're doing there is, to me, a huge deal. How did you get there, and how did you get started there?
And where did the name Bobby Fame come from?
Which one you want to go with first? I can go with I go with the Bobby Fame because a lot of people, some people know, some people don't, but since this is a DJ related kind of, I got my name from Biz Markie.
Wow.
And so we were, I booked, man, Biz is my favorite person in the world. And so we were doing a small podcast just like this. He was doing an interview with one of my other DJs who at that time, this had to be, man, I think it was like 2007, I believe it was. And they were kind of doing this kind of, you know, interview stuff. And so the next day I go back to my DJ's house and I walk in that house and his son's on the couch and he says, Bobby Fame. And we said, Bobby Fame, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, that's Bobby Fame. That's what Biz called him. So I called Biz and I was like, yo, Bobby Fame. He's like, you like that, son, don't you? You like that. I said, what the fuck is this? I said, and he's like, you like, so Biz, and I'm so mad I lost my, he did me like drops and shit. Like he did everything. This is another Bobby Fame production. So
wow, he did those?
Yeah, he did that for me. Just call, you know, just like I was like, yo, at that time, I don't know if y'all know Biz, but Monty was around, his manager. Me and Monty was really tough. But Biz was like, that's my dog, man. Biz is the first time I ever got into the garden messing with Biz. But yeah, so that's how Bobby Fame came from. It came from Biz Markie, man. Rest
in peace to Biz Markie, one of the pioneers.
Pioneers, yeah. So that's how that all came about. And I kind of ran with it. My promoters, I really never had like an alter ego, and I think that was a step into my alter ego world, you know, as far as me being in the production life. I never did really get to pick his brain of why he said Fame, but obviously I think me walking in the room and having that, you know, kind of more or less like the leadership on my back, right? Kind of made in that kind of famous. I'm not a real flamboyant person. I don't really do all of that, but you know, I have my moments where I have a good time, and you know, I like to entertain. But so yeah, that's where it came from.
I know where you got that from just by hearing the story. You were the guy who got in there, who came in there and got things done, and knew everybody to get things done.
Yeah. So yeah, you're famous.
That,
you the famous.
That was it. Yeah, that was it.
That's where fame comes from. Like fame.
Yeah. No, it is. We used to rock out, man. Like, you know, like I've had a lot of them DJs come in. I've probably done all the DJs you guys are, you know, familiar with on the more of the popular side. But yeah, so I started in production. I was at the Ohio State University. Ironically, you know, again, and I was I've always thought about doing parties and stuff. And my best friend who I was living with, we still best friends to this day. And he came downstairs, say, yo, this kid is doing this concert in Louisville, and he needs some investors and da da da. So I took all my little college refund money and went and begged family and friends to do this big old fucking festival. And it was, can I cuss in? It was 4 months.
We'll put it on the radio.
Okay, whatever, yeah, okay, drinking everything.
We doing on the radio on Friday, so we're gonna have to just bleep these words.
Okay, well, I'll keep it clean. So I said, all right, yeah, let's go check them out. And so we did it. We went down. The show was in Louisville, Kentucky. it was Joe, Total, the Locks, and who else was on that show? I had to pull it back up. And so the show never happened.
Where was it supposed to be? Freedom Hall?
Freedom Hall, yeah. Nah. What's that? The Gardens, Louisville Gardens.
Louisville Garden. Yep.
It was in Louisville Gardens.
Mhm.
And so the production never happened. He had some other investors. He was dealing with some, fake agents, but everybody was there. It was crazy. I mean, I just think he just didn't produce right. He didn't again, right. He didn't make it happen. And so at that point in time, I was like, yo, I can't I can do this on my own. So when he came back, I kind of got me the bug. And my best friend always said that was like me kind of meeting a new girl, right? Kind of like these ambitious goals of what can happen and what can be made and how easy it is. And then from there, it was just, man, I was there. I just started getting, moving and grooving in the production world and started doing more parties on campus. Kind of started knowing, obviously I'm from Columbus, started to get cool with the athletes. They started coming to the parties. Then I did my first theater show, which ironically how I met BX I was at Genuine was my first theater show.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so
wait. He was doing a play?
No, it's I was my first theater where I rented actually a real theater and did seated, I had my own thing. Obviously we were doing the parties and I started to find out about funding, and the Black Culture Center was paying me to do comedy shows. I was doing small comedy shows on campus, but that was the first one where I was like, all right, let me buy some real talent and do this on my own, and that was it. From there, it kind of grew.
So let me ask you this question when you're talking about Genuine, because that's where I met you at that show with him and Tank, the R&B show. When you met him, was he just coming out genuine, like Pony Genuine? Or was he different?
Nah, G had the band and everything. He had the white fur coat. It was a thing. It came out, and Dave Hollister was supposed to be on that show. He did not making it. But yeah. So I mean, he absolutely crushed it. After party was off the chain. And we've been kicking it ever since. Yeah. So that was my. I mean, I've done him a ton of times. I actually went on tour with G. He was on a Janet Jackson tour, and I did all his after parties. That was kind of my first time hitting the road.
I seen that tour with him and Janet.
Yeah, we was all over.
Janet Jackson show, but I came in on the tail end of him because I wasn't a huge Genuine. I didn't know him like that. I really didn't know him until the second album. To be honest,
oh wow, that first album, that Timberland album was crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that until after I listened to the second album. And then I went back to the first album. And then I fell in love with Genuine as an artist. But yeah.
He was probably one of the first ones I kind of felt like I felt like the hood cats and the dudes really listened to, because the girls was digging it, you know what I mean? And then I always tell them I had G sells tickets, man. You know what I mean? He's probably only a couple artists out there that I think will work for the rest of his life. Just because he has a diverse portfolio, he can hit the casinos, he can hit the fairs, he can hit a theater tour. He can still do it. So I mean, obviously we met him. He's still doing arena shows with great support on there. But
sold out show.
Sold out show, yeah.
Sold out show. And he closed it. So let me just tell Kamish. So it was Genuine, Tyrese, and Tank. So they were going back and forth with who got the better hits and this and the third.
Yeah.
So Genuine is sitting there. He just chilling. Tyrese is doing his thing. The women are going crazy. Tank is going crazy, doing his thing. The women go crazy. But when Genuine came up there and said 9 o'clock, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah. That was a huge record.
Everybody went crazy. And he closed out their set with Pony. You cannot not perform Pony. He closed.
Yeah. Now you got to rock that record.
He shut it down with that song. Are you kidding me?
I mean, listen, that R&B in the late 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, that was,
crazy.
That's an era that many people kind of overlooked until now. Like in the last 5 or 6 years, people have been really seeking it, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, I think the 90s was great, but the 90s got a run that was a lot longer than I thought it was going to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there was
groups that came out of the 90s. A lot of some records. I mean, that 2000s we start losing them. I mean, you got like you got a couple, like, you know, because the festival that I'm doing for 8 years, I had started it off and back in 2003, actually before I got my first bar. And I did it, and it was like old school hip hop, and then so then I came back with the festival, and I don't know, whatever, 10 years ago I started, like, consulted the radio station, and then I ended up receiving it from the venue. They wanted me to pretty much take it on. But I went through all the artists, and it's like I went through so I went through old school hip hop, then I transitioned a little bit more into like the 2000s artists, and kind of I still go back and forth, but I mean, I've had to play every last one. I've not, in 8 years, I haven't. Genuine and Dougie Fresh are the only ones that I have ran through twice. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to do something different in the coming years, but I keep trying to but yes, the 90s when I go back.
You can't lose with them, though. You can't lose with them. How can you lose? You can't lose with Dougie Fresh and Genuine. And then let's not forget, before we go into break, you got DJ Jazzy Jeff coming up on your 614 festival coming up. Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
The first time I've never actually I've never booked him as a talent. So this would be pretty
that's going to be a treat. That's going to be a treat. But we're about to take a break. We're going to come right back. I want to talk to you about who your favorite artist is and how do you go about getting all of these artists and some trending topics. So this is your girl BX. We got Bobby Fame on the line with our boy DJ Commish. This is Outside the Booth. We'll be right back.
The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. New York's #1 for throwbacks.
We're back here outside the booth. You're DJ Commish.
Yes.
BX is here. Bobby Fame is here. Bobby, you mentioned something about you being at Ohio State. You started there, right?
Yep.
So do you remember the first thing you did when you got on campus event-wise?
Event-wise, now I think the first, like, the ones I really can remember were like the little small comedy shows at Weigel Hall. It was a little small theater. And you know, I was kind of dipping into like purchasing talent, and that way. But that would be like some of the other ones. Everything else was kind of like outside of the campus, right? So you know, it would kind of be like at a local club. Obviously, you know, I mean, I went to Ohio State, but I'm from, you know, I was raised in Columbus, and obviously I had a local network. So more than some of the other ones, I could venture off a little bit more than with other people, just because I knew people outside of the campus.
Gotcha.
So before we went on break, we were talking about all of your 400 artists that you went through and this bill that you have coming up. Your talent that you have performing at your showcase or your festival, your festival next week is huge. You have Total, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Genuine, Lil Scrappy, Ro James, right?
No, Jay Holiday.
Jay Holiday?
Yep. James was last year.
That was last year. Yep. Jay Holiday. Who else do you have on this bill? Because you have a whole weekend.
Eric Roberson. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's pretty good R&B.
Barefoot Roberson.
Yeah, Barefoot. I got Tweet on the bill too. She's on the bills.
Okay.
And then I think Joel Santana is the other one we didn't mention.
Nice.
But this is the first day that we actually are doing 2 days. And you know, like I said, I've done it for really 10 years, 8 years on my own, outside of my own, but Summer 614 brand for 10 years. And the infrastructure is already set. So, you know, as you do events and things are there, it's kind of like, why not? But as we talked earlier, I mean, Columbus is growing, right? It's a really big market. I think that people There's a lot more to do here than what people think.
Mhm.
And it's a very, very clean, good city. And obviously, I think it could grow more, like from a downtown development standpoint. But for the most part, there's a lot to do, and I just want to grow the festival. I want to make this one of the things. I don't ever really want to leave the park. I like the park. It's a small niche festival. No, I'm not 20,000 people, but I mean we get our good 8,000, and we can make it work, and it's good. I love it. And it's what I learned. So I don't know. We didn't dip into a little bit, but now I've been kind of really pushing the whole music is therapy initiative, right? And the facts that what we do, sometimes we don't think about the therapeutic aspect that we provide, right? And so now, one of my bigger missions is try to just to kind of create the gathering, create the environment that people are really enjoying. And sometimes I always ask them, yo, you have a good time, but never really ask them how they feel. So
Right.
I'm just want to keep growing in that aspect, and giving back and providing, and that's the mission right now. So as I get more support, I think I'll be able to get larger talent on the bill. Not to think that these talent isn't big, but at the end of the day, it come down to dollars and cents with some artists, right? They just want their certain paycheck, and that's what it is, and I get it. And hopefully we'll be able to do that so that we can make it more of a notable event around the country.
That is amazing. I commend you guys for that. That is awesome. And the thing that I love about your music is therapy thing that a lot of people won't know until right now is that you provide rides and transportation for people to get to these things.
Yeah, that's a new initiative this year. Is the first year we kicked that off. Therapy rides. So I'm literally picking people up from bus stops.
That is
Like a
amazing.
charter bus, and
That's
I'm
free of
going.
charge.
Yeah, free of charge. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I pushed it to I push it. Shout out to my county commissioners. I put in the work, and they, believed in my mission, and they supported me with these from a county perspective, which is pretty big because those are literally like the city tax dollars that they get back and push back into the initiatives, and they're big on it. So, part of the programs that I'm doing this year will have multiple therapy rides where we'll have live musicians on it. I'll have DJs, I'll have singers, and people won't know kind of what they're, that once they get on, they'll, ask them, do they want to lift? And some of them will be strategic where we'll take seniors and caregivers to doctor's appointments and things of that nature.
Oh,
And
wow.
just use music as an uplifting tool. They won't know, right? They'll get on it and they'll get on it, and then we will play music. I mean, not to, everybody turns the radio up, but this is a little bit more intentional, right? And more and then we'll talk to them, have conversations, and just try to give them a better pep in their step for the day. And so that's what
awesome.
Therapy Rise is about. Yep. So we'll be doing that, and I'm launching it next week at Summer 614. We're going to take a group of caregivers down to the show, put them up, and do that. And
Oh, that is amazing.
yeah. And I got it from, it was crazy because there's these mothers that murdered Columbus children. There was a group of mothers. They all lost their children through street violence. And they all call me every year. And my mom does one of their nails. And so Miss Rhonda called me like, hey, Bobby, can I get the early bird special? It's a big group of us. And I'm like, yo, what are y'all doing? Like, who is this? And why are y'all getting together? And she's like, no, it's all my little group. She's already tell me. But they were using that as an outlet, you know what I mean? And like, they were just coming. I mean, they would come 30, 40 deep. Sad, that we're losing that many lives. But for them to use my platform as their therapy really opened my eyes. And I
That
said,
is amazing.
I said, yo, this is much bigger. And sometimes you could just think about the dollars and cents and then not really think about the impact. And I said, yo, this is bigger. So that's when I started to take it to the county and to more people and say, yo, look, I can do something bigger than just me wondering if I'm getting ticket sales and things of that nature. Like, let's do something that has a little bit more purpose behind it and be intentional. And that's where we are now.
And you're still giving them a different experience than anything that they've already had.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
You make them feel like they have a reason for getting up for after losing loved ones. Like this is something to celebrate their loved ones or some type of, memorial for them, but in fun. Like, just to celebrate their lives of their lost loves and things. I think that is amazing. That's beautiful. But I have a question for you. When did you know, when you started doing your philanthropy, when did you know that that was going to be your new purpose outside of just entertaining the world?
I mean, that was one trigger moment for me right there, you know, to be honest. I mean, that was one that kind of stuck to me. And they didn't even know it. Like I mean, to be honest, like I literally gave them a check that was through people wanting to be backstage and do it, and they still call me today. They love it. You know what I mean? Like I gave them. I mean, we did a $10,000 donation, but to them it was the world, and that was like, this ain't really nothing. Like as far as like,
Right.
you know, for me to help you push your mission and initiative. And so, you know, I think that was the moment, defining moment to saying, yo, like I gotta do more. And I've always wanted to be on the philanthropy side. And I played tennis. I knew the disparity of tennis, and I was around all of these, you know, high society folks that were introduced to the sport. I'm going back to the neighborhood. So tennis has always been my first mission to give back, and I constantly do that in many aspects, in many ways. But the music, obviously, you know, it's what I do, right? It's how I make a living, and it's how I what I've been passionate about, win, lose, or draw, all my life. And so yeah, so it's why not, right? And why not use my platform, my resources, and my knowledge to not obviously grow the city and to give the city a birth of life, but also to be intentional again with finding strategic partners and people who could use the support and use my platform as an outlet.
Does it feel like work for you, or is it just fun and you just love doing what you do? Because what you do is, from the outside looking in, I know it's a lot of work, but it still looks fun. Like you're seeing something from the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's the fun part, right? The fun part is seeing it from the ground up,
Yeah.
and to see it. Oh, I want to put this here, put this there. This will work good here. That's the fun part. That the other stuff, you know, is like, it's cool. Like I don't really get to see shows, to be honest. Like I don't, you know, but I'll watch them. You know, I'll go look at talent and just, you know, can tell you if the show is tight or not, or if the crowd's respective or responsive. You know, and I'm looking at different things, right? I'm looking at, you know, the professionalism of entertainment, of the talent. You know, what's going on? Is the production right? You know, do we got clarity in the system? Is this a visible point? Is this not a visible point? You know, what can make the system flow better? So I think those are all really good when I see it come there. To go back into like one of my favorite things I've ever done was when COVID came. I really did the drive-in shows.
What you
Where
mean?
so where I actually took a parking lot, and we did where you pull your car in, and then you had two spaces, and then you had your kind of social distancing space, and then you had your car space. Yeah. And so it was like a basic, and we staggered the cars. We had to restripe the lot. It was big. That was my and we did 19 shows that whole during
19
COVID.
shows.
We did 19 shows. Yeah. So I did a lot of, so I was on the urban side, and then I partner with one of my other partners that I do a lot of stuff with, their Breakaway Festival. They do like all the EDM. I'm really tied into that market. And so they did, you know, obviously a lot of programming that fits their genre of music. And then I did the R&B hip hop side, and I had music, and my first one was music and Raheem, and man, it was live. So like stuff like that was like, damn, like, and I look back now like, damn, I really did that.
Did
Like,
that.
we really made that happen, like through all of the scrutiny and but I mean, people still talk about it to this day. But that was by far my first happy moment when I look back, to be able to provide and to pull something like that off during a time. Like, I mean, we don't think about it now, but I mean, that was a crazy time. You
I
know,
think about it all the time. Like you know,
yeah.
So some of us are still trying to recover from that.
Oh man, who are you telling? Like, I had just opened up, so on a venue called the Forum, and we had just opened up on 19.
Oh
And
wow, so y'all was brand new.
fresh.
Wow.
Fresh.
Okay, so how were you able to survive that?
Man, it was a tough cookie, right? So like, one, we couldn't get the support. Like I know guys that own venues that got millions, right? Through the Shuttered Venues Act. That was the one that was designated strictly for venues. And they did that to save realistically, they really saved our theater world, right? Our theater world, Broadway was just absolutely crushed, right?
Right.
And I wasn't able to really get that support. We got some support, but it wasn't enough. Obviously, the landlord worked with me. And we kind of, one of the things we did, we kind of set up a payment agreement. Then we pushed the leasing terms back. But one of the things that I had to do at that time, meanwhile, I opened my first show was with Eric Roberson. It was in October, and then and I had a bunch of other shows right after that. But then March, came and we kind of saw it come, but I had to shut down. So I lost I think we had like 30 artist deposits out.
Wow.
Still never recoup from the artist deposits. People they were keeping their dollars.
Right.
And we went to more of a club, persona. You know what I mean? I had to kind of really pivot and to kind of get where I could. But it was rough and we got through it. But really the nightlife kind of saved me because people obviously, when they could go out, there was a time that people just didn't care. There was a community and market that just didn't care. Unfortunately, lo and behold, I mean, it wasn't, and I'll tell you this, it wasn't just African American. It was all
everybody, all ethnicities.
Yeah, they didn't care. I mean, we would throw EDM shows and they'd be packed on top of each other. But yeah, and
y'all were open,
huh?
Y'all
were open. We were open. Like when we could open, we opened, right? You know what I mean? Like every time I could, I had to pay. Like I called COVID like 4 times. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, but what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like I can't get no support. I can't get no help. And we just had to navigate through it and
push through. That's perseverance right there.
But then again in 2020, again, I came up with the drive-ins. So that gave me a source of income. You know what I mean? So when I look back, like it was like crazy. Like I still owe that year after the drive-ins.
Well, we can ready to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to hit you with one of DJ Knuckles' hypotheticals. So what the hypothetical is, I'm going to ask him to get back. It's your girl, BX.
Good explanation.
It's a hypothetical question, but I don't want to give them prepared for it, Girl, BX. Bobby Fame in the building. DJ Commish, DJ Knuckles, we miss you. Outside the booth, we'll be right back.
The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. New York's #1 for throwbacks. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. New York's #1 for throwbacks.
Back outside the booth, BX, DJ Commish, Bobby Fame is here. And Bobby, I got somebody here that I want to give a quick shout out. And he says, I'm late, but great to see my peeps. He's talking about you and in particular. He says he works. Shout out to the one and only Crate Digger, right?
Wow.
So Crate Digger says during COVID, Bobby also hosted live streaming events which help artists keep their own platforms alive when the tech needed wasn't in the house. He always held people down.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my dog, Crate Digger.
That's amazing. Shout out to you, Bobby.
Hey man, we gotta keep going, bro. It don't stop. Yeah, you get caught in the pigeonhole. You better figure out how to get out.
How does that make you feel that people look up to you and love you for the person that you are, holding them down, especially in a time like COVID?
I mean, it just let you know you're doing your job at the end of the day, right? You know what I'm saying? We all got a job and a purpose, and if you're true to it, you know what I mean, and you really love it and you really care for it, it's not even a question. It's just natural, right? You know what I'm saying? So, again, my favorite word is just being intentional about what it is, and then learn from the ways that. Because obviously, everybody has their own ups and downs and sides and stuff, and there's the ugly side to the business too, right? And we've all kind of been on that side as well. So we just try to, treat people how you would want to be treated, and even if you made the mistake, right? You know what I mean? Even if I made the mistake, I learned how not to make that mistake again, because I know it could hurt somebody else and give them a negative persona. So I always just look at it that way. Just try to keep elevating. Like I said, we all not perfect, but for the most part, I do my best, and I always try to give back and give people opportunities, and don't forget where I came from. And that's the hardest part right there. Sometimes we can get up and forget, how you got there and the little milestones that help you achieve. And yeah, so
Yeah. So I'm going to hit you with one of DJ Knuckles' hypothetical questions, even though he isn't here. If you were not Bobby Fame, the promoter, super producer, events coordinator, and everything like that, what would you be doing?
I honestly feel like if it was business related, I felt like probably would have went a lot into real estate. When I came back and saw you um, at, I used to shop as a kid on downtown Brooklyn, right? And to see that development, and even see the development of where I live at, right? I'm like, yo, I wish. And I was introduced to real estate around the same time we were into promotions and marketing, but I just didn't stick with it. And probably because I couldn't see and understand the financial literacy components of that. You know what I mean? So, and then you don't know that, and you think about, this box office can do this can do that. And I could see the tangibles from the revenue streams, but I couldn't really see that from the longevity of the real estate. So, real estate business wise, if my true heart, if I really wanted to like really dive into it, would be tennis. But on the tennis side, I didn't want to coach tennis and be kind of like, um, in no negative way, like be, um, have to deal with the consumers of the child that didn't want to play or had the opportunity but never really took it serious, right? Yeah. So mine's is always like, even if I try to find people and help people that would never have the means or the access to it, to at least get introduced to it, and then from there, provide resources. But I love tennis. I play it a lot. My kids play it. My whole family plays it. I think I'm a hell of a tennis coach, but I just don't have to. I'll be stuck to like how many hours I work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's like, I think us as entrepreneurs, in my head, I would like, go crazy. So I never really came out like, I would be the one that like, I got to have my own tennis facility and coaches work underneath me and things like that, like to create an ecosystem with it. But real
Either way,
estate,
you have an empire. Either way, you would have an empire. So
I would try to create. I felt like I felt like this, like if I really did that back, if I'd have had that vision back in the day of an empire from a tennis perspective, but I didn't. At the end of the day, I didn't love it as much, right? You know what I'm saying? I didn't see that in that manner, and then, but business wise, real estate, man, I would, that's my favorite. I love it. I've seen so much wealth created from that. Not me personally, but I've seen families that are, billionaires from that model.
Sports is huge. Sports is a huge money makers because kids are always coming up into sports. So it's a big revolving door. So I can definitely see how people make millions in the sports world. And I think that's great. And your kids, how many kids do you have that are playing?
I have 3 kids. My oldest is 14. She she doesn't live in Columbus. She lives in Dallas. And then I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old.
And everybody plays tennis and everybody's nice at
tennis and golf. Yeah, tennis and golf. Those are the 2 sports.
those are 2 money sports.
Yeah, it's freaking expensive.
Yeah, I bet. But
I can't believe I pay that bill.
You've been promoting since you were 19 years old. So how did you maintain, or how was it when you first started building these relationships with people and venues to where you are, where people trust you? Like when Bobby says he's doing something, we're going to do it. Where nowadays it's not that easy for promoters to have those relationships.
For one, I think in anything, and regardless of whatever you're doing, like you got to stay consistent. Like you just said, this is your 24th episode, right? I mean, it's going to be a different conversation at 240. You know what I mean? And some people don't want to get to 240. And some people just want to just see it be what it is and then get with it. But I mean, I think I know you guys are going to be successful, and I know you guys are going to expand it, keep growing. So like it's it's just being consistent and then delivering, right? You know what I mean? I think you guys, we got to be intentional about what we deliver and then make it happen, and try not to do the bullshit. I think that's where a lot of people, and especially in the promoter scheme of things, because I was just having this conversation today, like how I felt like, sometimes even myself like would stay in that kind of mind frame that I am a promoter, but I'm really an event producer. I'm really a strategic partner in event planning on a larger scale, than I am a promoter. But I think promoter is very good too, because promoter has to strategically think about how to get people excited to come and to participate in an event. So
it's not the same thing.
Nah, yeah, it's not the same.
I think it is, but it's not.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not, because I know some people with those skill sets, you know what I mean, and other people's with not skill sets. So
and you have skill sets.
I've always been a visionary though too. Like this wasn't my first and I think that's what people see. Like when I the board I had Biz at a lot. It was we had everybody still talks about it to this day, but I found it at another facility. But I had a little small bar, probably about like 3,500 square feet, but I was adjacent to a parking lot, and I used to just put tents on the side of the building to get more people. But I would deck the tents out. It would be full production. I have gobos in the ceiling, and I have just all type of theatrics, and so just having that vision.
Yeah, it's an attraction.
Yeah,
it's an attraction. They want to, what's going on over there? Yeah, that's dope.
Or to grow, like, what I'm saying? So I think some of those things like stick in people's heads, right? And so when you start to create moments of their life that they'll never forget, they begin to attach that with you. So you begin to always be in that conversation. Not saying that I thought about that 20 years ago, but I mean, I think if you just do it right and you have that vision, you make it happen, and it impact people, and they'll constantly look back for you and mention you in that light of a good time or a good event, or so.
What's interesting to me is I'm hearing this and I'm thinking of my own personal experiences. I don't know anyone who on the hip hop R&B side who was that who thought ahead like that, as far as like producing events, who would turn things into, basically turn a parking lot into like an experience, right? I will only hear that at like Caribbean parties, and stuff like in Jamaica or in Trinidad for Carnival or something like that. I will only hear about experiences and that's on those scale of things, but not here in the States.
I think sometimes, and I think you make a great point too, and I think it also goes back to culture, right? You know what I mean? I think that we don't, sometimes African American culture in particular, just hasn't been I wouldn't say exposed. It's just something that we just don't do, right? You know what I mean? Like when I look at festivals now, like Broccoli and One Fest, I like that because it's a younger demo, right? So that those kids 20 years from now have a totally different mind frame and mindset, of what you're saying, and my family, my dad, mom didn't go to Woodstock, right? They wouldn't have even touched that, even. So I think that's just like, we as a culture just haven't been elevated to that, I think when one of the guys that give him kudos is actually from Columbus, but Jabari, who runs R&B Only, he kind of got his theatrical from the EDM world, you know what I mean? And that experience wasn't delivered to the urban market, right? And so, and that's what I'm saying. And that's our job as event producers and people who are in this space to constantly give that and offer and say, yo, this is a really cool thing, and and we want to do it. I think we're very experiential people. But you got to do it, and so yeah, no, I totally agree, and I'm always trying to find that way. And I mean, obviously, I'm in Columbus. I don't travel much. I don't do stuff outside the market. Very aware of what's going on in the world, but with the kids and the family, I love spending time with my kids. We play tennis and golf every day.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, I train them.
living the dream.
No, not living a dream. I'm just teaching them that you
No, I'm
can't.
saying like you just able to spend that time with your family. So many people have to sacrifice time with their family to work, and the fact
Yeah,
that you're able to do it, that's
I
amazing.
know. I don't. It's so funny. I commend my mom and my dad for being entrepreneurs in their life, right? But I mean, because I didn't know another way, right? I didn't know that way. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, and I still feel like, I mean, you guys, I'm sure you make sacrifices, and we all make sacrifices
Mhm.
but you make sacrifices for what you want to make sacrifices for.
That's right.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? And I tell people that all the time. I say, yo, and I bring your kid to tennis, and I'm like, yo, first thing you gotta do is you gotta show up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And you gotta figure out a way. You gotta really make it. You gotta make it work. So the reason why I do it with them is just to, obviously, I know if they want to be the highest potential that they want to go to, and that's what they tell me, you got to put the work in. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be consistent. And you're gonna get what you put into it.
Mhm. Are you excited about this coming up? This show coming up, your festival coming up? Is it exciting for you, or are you just like,
Man, I'm like anxious because it's 2 days, right? So it's my first 2 days, and I'm very
What made
uncomfortable
you
right
get to
now.
2 days?
Huh?
What made you get to 2 days? What made you say that this is the year to go into 2 days?
Just like, well, first of all, I got support from the county, so I would say that for sure.
Okay, okay.
I won't deny that fact. They did not front the whole bill, but they definitely allowed me to grow, right? And
Mhm.
um and that was it. So but I was thinking about it last year, and I was thinking about it this year, and I was like, yo, let's just do it, right? And I had to go through this whole, and it was something I literally had been, no lie, I've been asking the venue for 3-4 years, and they
Mhm.
kept telling me no. They kept
look at
telling
God
me
in God's time? Look at God. Won't He
yeah,
do it?
they kept saying no, and then they finally, new leadership, that I've been with, once the leadership changed and me
Mm,
getting better, closer with the ones now, and I
Mhm.
kept putting into them. I'm like, yo, but it's also to the point too. I mean, on the production, on the logistical side, dude, like I'm literally setting this up at Friday and then taking it down on Sunday. I'm like, man, my infrastructure bill is crazy. I'm putting up 6 foot fencing. I'm building stages. I'm building bars. We building all this. I'm building activations. Like, like at some point, like let's just try this because I heard somebody always say, and people say it, like you got to get uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
and sometimes we can get complacent and we good where we are, and we could just keep stroking this. But I'm like, nah, let's go for it. So that was a time, I think, that leadership changing and giving me the opportunity, more support, which I've gotten over the years of being
Mhm.
consistent, right, and delivering. Sponsorship has grown a little bit, and then logistically it was just like, yo, let's try to make some sense. So
That's what's up. But we about to take our last break before we head up out of here. And I have a couple of questions that I have to ask you, and so that people can get more familiar with you. So we're gonna, you're gonna tell us a little bit about you that we don't know. So y'all stay tuned. It's Outside the Booth. We'll be right back.
The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. New York's #1 for throwbacks. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. New York's #1 for throwbacks.
All right, we're back outside the booth.
Yes, yes.
DJ Kamish, BX, we're here.
Bobby Fame in the building with the famous festival coming up next weekend, May 30th and May 31st in Columbus, Ohio. Top tier R&B artists are being there. Genuine, Total, Eric Roberson, Jay Holiday. So many people. It's like, I should have really had my list out for your
You good?
artists that are coming there. DJ Jazzy Jeff. I
Nothing,
still have
nothing,
not
nothing,
met him. Like, that is crazy.
You're gonna have fun working with him. He's a really cool dude to work with.
Oh my God, he looks
Yeah,
like
he's like so he's like I got him, so like I pitched and he said yes, and so he's basically like kind of like how Cassidy does Rock the Mic a little bit, but not in that form to where he's bringing them but back to back, but he'll be playing DJ sets in between each artist.
Oh, that's dope.
So it won't just be like one set 30 minutes.
Okay. So he's there for the day.
He's there for the day, bro.
Yeah.
He's there for the day.
Awesome.
And
That is awesome.
so yeah, I wanted to work out because I think I'll be honest, I think it could really grow. And I think it could probably be a good resident event for him. And I that's kind of my mind frame on funk. I do Funk Fest every year, 614 Funk Fest, and Zap is always on. It's my third year, and once I did that, so I'm never not doing it without Zap. And it's only so many funk artists, but
that's my kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of feel Jazzy's. I'm like, yo, I hope we can really knock this out the park. So
we gotta come there. I tell you, I'm gonna know by this week because I want to come to that festival next weekend. I don't mind.
Come on
out there. We get all access if we come out there. Commission.
All access. I got a hefty room block, so you good on the hotel. So just get down here.
Just get down there.
Just come on through.
That'll be so much fun. But listen, I was reading up on you, and I think it's so commendable that you founded the Calvin Ferguson Legacy Fund in honor of your late dad. That is awesome.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
How did you even think to come up with that?
My sister, who lives in New York, she was saying that we gotta do something, and it was funny because I was like, she first mentioned to me, I was like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing nothing. I'm just like, I don't know. And then a light bulb went off and was like, yo, you should do something at the high school. And I was like, oh, yo, Taj, like I should. She's like, I told you that. So she's like, I don't know what light bulb went off. And so I commend my sister for that. And he went to a high school here. He loved his high school. We used to have to like bow. So like when we rolled past our high school as kids, he used to make us bow our head to the high school.
Wow.
And it was a joke. I mean, but I'm like, dude, nobody care about that. It was East High School. So, we gave.
Did you play there?
Yeah, he played. He went there. Like it's two high schools here. I don't know what they would be there. Everybody has them, right? That just like has a lot of urban culture. Back in, I mean, my dad he was born 1936, so he was 80 something years old. So, it's just different back in the 60s, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just a lot more heritage. But I went on the other side of town was where I went to high school, which was their rival, which was Leonard McKinley High School. And so we gave back, and I know the football coach, obviously small town. And so, I created that. So every year we're just going to do something, give kids awards. And it was funny because it was, asking like what to do. And it's amazing how much we think a small dollar amount won't matter. But I think for a kid to even get notarized, right? For a kid to even get some type of honor is bigger than whatever you give them, because they just feel like they accomplished something, and the football coach said that I deserve this. And so that will probably go a long way than obviously any dollar. So I was always stuck on a dollar amount, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter about the dollar, right? It has to be of some significant. But yeah, I kind of could see that in the kid's face, that I got picked. And
that's a great feeling for a kid. It's a great feeling when we're recognized as an adult.
My dad did that. Like my dad was like, he was a very, very, very generous person. Lived a heck of a lifestyle, and that could be a whole nother podcast.
But now look at you. You are a philanthropist. You're a true blue community leader. Like, you have an impact on your community, on artists, on kids, in sports. Like, you're impactful.
Appreciate it. I'm glad you guys see that through the lens of where you're at, because you don't know me, right?
I don't know you, but after researching you and meeting with you at the Barclays and speaking to you for that short period of time, I was able to see like the genuine person that you are. And speaking of genuine, Will Trax never responded to the picture.
Oh wow.
He knows. Yeah,
He was here. Will was here. Will came here and somebody had a little studio. He was getting a little bag, you know what I mean? And he was down here making tracks. I used to go in the studio. I'm like, man, what is this? But he always had fire though. He always had fire.
Always. Will's huge out here.
Yeah, I saw him about a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I gotta get him on the festival because people don't even like. I don't.
They probably
know his voice.
They know his
Got
voice.
a couple of joints. He should be out there. He should try to get him out there for next year.
Yeah, like and even like a surprise guest, like somebody just come through and like turn the light on, get them up crazy.
And one person's birthday is gonna make that person's entire year.
Yeah.
If Will comes out and point to the birthday person and it's their birthday and he have everyone shine a light on that person.
Yeah.
Man, Will has a timeless hit. That song will never, ever, ever, ever go.
He'll always be working.
Forever. So tell us 3 things that people don't know about Bobby Fane.
Man, things they don't know about Bobby Fane. This is a I don't know if you know it. Man, this is a great one. I don't know. I don't know where to start. I hate snakes.
Okay. I don't know too many people who love them.
I love snakes. I actually love snakes.
I like them too, but
I absolutely hate them. I cannot. I don't know which way they're gonna move. I can't. You know what I mean? Like
there's that part. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. You can put it down. I don't know if he's going left, right to the. I don't know what he's gonna do. So I'll just stay away from him. The animal, not the actual snake as a person.
Right.
Those. What else do you don't know?
You're a Knick fan.
I'm glad they're not playing Cleveland tonight.
Wow.
No, of course I'm a Knick fan, man. What are you talking about? My favorite Knick player was John Starks.
Okay.
That's my favorite Knick player, man. You couldn't stop him, bro. He was a grocery man. So another thing, I like quiet. Like I don't like as much as people think. I don't like a lot of noise.
I'm the same way as a DJ.
Yeah, I don't like a lot of noise, and I'm at the end of the day, I'm very shy.
Really?
Yep. So yeah, I'm very shy. I'm kind of a big introvert, right? I don't,
I would have never thought that because of the way we met. It was just like so.
I can talk. I'm a people person, but I'm saying at the end of the day, like it has to, I don't know. I know people that are way more outgoing than me, and So those two. I hate snakes, and I like quiet. I don't like no noise a lot of times, and I had one time funny as shit where I was in the car with Biz. And I got in the car and it turned the radio, Bobby. He said, please turn that shit off. He said, please, just quiet, man. Just quiet.
This was after the gig, right?
Just after the gig, Just quiet, man. I don't want nothing.
Listen,
because I'll be the same way.
I tell people all the time, and my girls catch me a few times now, especially recently, where I'm finished from my event of the day. And we're driving home and there's nothing on. Like it's and people be like, oh, you're driving like you're there's no music in your car and you're a DJ. You're driving like you're an assassin.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful, man. Throw the window down and just Jesus, man. Just leave me alone, please.
Yeah, just
quiet.
decompress.
Fresh air.
Decompress.
Fresh air.
It helps you think too.
Yeah,
it does. The quiet really does bring pure thoughts.
As Craig Digger says, listening to the time pass.
Literally.
I like Craig. Where's Craig? Is he in New York? Is he in Ohio?
He's in Ohio.
He's in Ohio.
Yeah, he's in Ohio.
Shout out to Craig.
Very talented DJ.
Really?
Yeah.
Craig, we're gonna have to get you up here, Craig.
He's crafty. you know, he's a real vinyl DJ, not no
Yeah.
Serato.
Great on the vinyl. He liked that though.
Yeah, he do. He does.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
like that.
okay. Okay, now before we go, I ask all of our guests, what advice would you give to a young and upcoming Bobby Fame?
Advice. I mean, it's a lot to tell him. Always self-belief in your own vision. You know, like, you know, just because you it was just because you a lot of people ask people questions, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think you need to ask nobody nothing. I think you just need to do it. And starting starting is the hardest thing to do. A lot of people don't even start. So you know, so start on your own and conquer what you feel should be conquered. And people want to go with it, they go with it. If they don't, they don't. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't work, right? You know what I mean? And failures are always our only lessons. They're not, you know, you want to fail. I mean, like you want to fail. If you don't fail, you never tried at all, right?
And
So
you don't know how to win after you're not failing.
for sure, period, point blank. So those three things, yeah. And I was on a panel and one other person asked me was like, how do you how do you stop procrastination, right? And you
That's a
know,
good question.
yeah, and I said in my night, whatever. I'm like, just get out of bed. But I feel like some people, and I feel like myself, procrastination is just being overwhelmed, right? So when you're overwhelmed and you are thinking the load is too heavy, you just got to create small tasks to get over the overwhelmment that will stop the procrastination. So
Okay, so
Being
you break
overwhelmed.
it down into small
small
small bits
pieces.
and pieces
Yep,
and accomplish them one by one.
one by one. One by one to stop the overwhelming of the large procrast. So, because I'm only procrastinating because I just don't feel like doing all of that, right? You know what I mean? And that's what we do. I don't feel like doing all of that, or you know, or I'll get it, or the safety net is I know how to do it. I can get it done, and I can get it done fast, right? But sometimes that'll bite you in the ass. But the one thing I was, again, like from that, when he asked me that, I thought about it, and my answer wasn't, when I thought about it, I said that wasn't a valid answer, right? You know what I mean? And I, because I had to think about why I procrastinate, you know, and what makes me have those procrastination thoughts. So yeah, so those are the couple things that I would say.
Yeah, don't overwhelm yourself. That's one way. That's a great answer for
Yeah,
not
I never thought about it that way, but
Neither
yeah,
have
that's a
I.
good answer.
Never.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, I want to thank you. But wait, before we leave, let everybody know how they can follow you and your events and attend your festivals and concerts.
The tickets are still on sale for the festival, right? I think I saw something that you still have tickets available.
Yeah, tickets available. Yeah, it's summer614.com. It's the 8th annual, Friday, May 30th. Jazzy Jeff, Tweet, Eric Roberson, Stokely from Mid Condition is on that show on Friday. And then Saturday, the 31st, is Genuine, Silk, Total, Lil Scrappy,
Woo!
A Holiday, and
Woo!
New York's own Joel Santana,
Nice.
Dipset's own. But yeah, it's Bobby Fame, ITS Bobby Fame, Columbus, Ohio. Born in New
You're doing
York.
the after parties too, right?
Yeah, we're doing 3 after parties. Yeah, so we are doing 3 after parties. We got 3 of them. First year, I'm breaking them up. I got Jewel's going to one bar, Jay Holiday going to another one, and man, I'm having a brain. Little Scrappy's doing another one.
Everybody can just
I'm
clap.
trying to see. I'm trying. Don't hope nobody say I'm trying to get the Scrappies though. He a character, boy.
Club hopping all the way,
Yeah.
through the
I
weekend.
won't, but it's crazy because we got Breakaway Festival that same weekend, and I'm doing the after parties at my venue for that, so I couldn't do the venue. I normally do it here, and they moved Breakaway on the same weekend, and that's where we got Afrojack, and I was like, yo, I'm just gonna like find somebody. Yeah. I'm doing Afrojack, bro.
Right.
I'm not gonna get away. I got my Odd Mob is going absolutely back crazy. It's probably sold at that Friday's already sold out, and Saturday is Afrojack he's gonna sell out too, but
Right.
yeah.
All I gotta say is everyone be ready to be sitting in some traffic because the Summer 614 Concert Festival is coming next week. So if you don't get out of town, get an Uber.
Tap in, man. Anybody in New York, tap in. Come on in, man. Ain't but an hour flight. Just don't fly out of Newark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're not flying out of Newark. No.
Flights out of Newark is going to be about 50 cents because there's no flights leaving out of Newark. But thank you, Bobby, for coming on. Bobby Fane, everybody.
Appreciate
Bobby
you guys,
Fane.
man.
It's Bobby Fame on IG. Everyone follow the Summer 614 Festival. Get your tickets if you haven't gotten your tickets. It's after parties, everything. This is Outside the Booth, your girl BX, DJ Kamish, and we're going to see y'all next time.
Later, y'all.
Later,
The
y'all.
new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. The new Party 1019. New York's #1 for throwbacks.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you so much. Sorry for the delay too.
Oh man, it happens.
Appreciate you. I'm going to send you the clips and everything when I get them cut up.
Cool. Yeah, send it all to me, and then we'll stay connected.
Yes, and I'm going to let you know this week. And if I can get that 50-cent flight out of Newark, I'm out there. If we don't get these.
All good. If not, we got more coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
we'll be in contact for sure.
Thank you so much.
No doubt.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right.